Guys, the title sponsor of my podcast is GoHunt.com Insider, and they're doing a 30-day free trial exclusive for the J. Scott Outdoors podcast listeners. Go to GoHunt.com/J. Scott and click on the blue free trial button and go through the steps. It only takes a couple of minutes. You will be required to provide a credit card, but you will not be charged until after the free 30 days. You can cancel at any time within the first 30 days to prevent being charged. If you have any questions at all, you can email freetrial@gohunt.com and someone from the GoHunt team will promptly respond. This is your opportunity to see what all the buzz is about and the filtering 2.0 system and the application strategies for the Western hunter.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I don't know if I was going to use Ziploc bags right now for this breakfast or vacuum sealed bags, because a lot of this other stuff we're going to vacuum seal it, and I'm trying to see if it's worth it to go through that much weight or trouble. So that's basically breakfast. And like in the years past, this is where I kind of was throwing around my breakfast ideas. I used to just use bars, like protein bars for breakfast, because I really hate burning water in the backcountry, because water in Nevada is very hard to get unless you have a snowfield or unless you're camped by a lake. Like water's always in the bottom. That's where always the deer are. So this year I am going to go breakfast like with an oatmeal. So I really love like granola type stuff, and I feel like I can palate just dry oatmeal and all this stuff together and maybe wash it down with a coffee or just a little sip of water. But I really am trying not to start my stove up and boil a bunch of water just for breakfast, because I save the water. But so now here we're going to jump into my snack and lunch. So here's where I have a lot of high calorie items. I'm taking roasted macadamia nuts, and these are really high in calories and fat content. They have 213 calories per ounce at 19 grams of fat. So these are just energy morsels. I mean, this is more than a protein bar. I mean, it probably doesn't have that much protein content, but I mean, just for calories and grams of fat, it's huge. And I'm also doing some roasted pila nuts. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Those are at 216 calories per ounce and 24 grams of fat. So these are two nuts that I've gotten at like a Whole Foods store. They don't have any salt on them. They're just straight nuts that just are packed with energy. And then here's like basically my big snack item that I just like crave every single day. I love Justin's almond butter and Justin's like hazelnut butter. So basically it's like a peanut butter thing, but I use almond butter, a peanut butter little packet, and they're 190 calories per 1.15 ounces. So they're, tons of good protein and tons of calories. And I'll take those and I'll dump those onto a honey stinger honey waffle. This is like a little, so it basically looks like a tiny, tiny waffle. I guess what it is. And that's 160 calories. So basically I have almost 500 calories right there, just in like 3 small items that barely weigh anything. That gives me a lot of energy again. I'll sit there and eat those midday while I'm classing. And then also for lunch, I will throw in either a company called RX Bar, and it's either a peanut butter bar or a Pro Bar meal peanut butter bar. And one of them is 108 calories per ounce, the other one's 125 calories per ounce. And those are, again, just, good protein-based bars that I'll use on lunch. I used to do the whole, carry tortillas and maybe bring some, like, dried meat or some turkey, but it's just so much easier carrying bars. They're smaller. They don't have a big mess. And then also coupled with those other snack items like those nuts and everything, I get a really good lunch-type snack throughout the day on those. And another part that I also do is, so for dinner, Mountain House chicken and rice. And what I do is I used to always buy the Pro Packs. Those are really small, vacuum sealed Mountain House packs. But obviously I'm wasting a bunch of money doing that. So you can get them cheaper by buying Mountain House in bulk. They come in like a big giant, I think they're like 1.5 pound cans of Mountain House. So now it looks pretty crazy. I probably have like 10 or 15 of those cans sitting in my man cave right now. But I'm basically going to take, I'm ready for anything that happens. If the world ends, hey, come to my house. We got Mountain House. So I take those. I'm going to take probably 2.5 cups right now of Mountain House, and I'm going to dump that into a vacuum seal bag. I'm going to vacuum seal it up myself. And then a bunch of other ones, I'm just going to put a larger vacuum seal bag and then use that same vacuum seal bag for multiple nights of dumping the water in there, kind of like you would a normal Mountain House bag. Try and save weight. And then also what I do is I supplement a little bit of MCT oil or like olive oil. Olive oil has like 251 calories per ounce, or I believe it's right, per ounce. So basically I get tons of extra calories just by liquid calories. I mean, olive oil is great on, cooking and everything like that, but you can definitely just kind of just drink it. So I just dump it in my mountain house and add a bunch of extra calories there. That way I can try to stay at that 1,900 calories per day. And so it's kind of a science right now. I'm still trying to modify it, but that's pretty much my food A to Z throughout the day, and really doesn't change much from that.
Is all of this going to be on your spreadsheet, including photos and such?
Yep. Everything will be photos of the food, photos of all my gear, and so that's a lot of that. I think we still have to go over. I mean, I have a lot of miscellaneous gear, but we could jump on my cook kit real quick and some other random stuff.
Doing great.
So yeah, cook kit. This is where I was talking about earlier about having like lightweight titanium and how it might not be feasible for some people early on because it is a high expense to buy titanium compared to like an aluminum cook set. So I have a Jetboil Soul TI titanium pot. It's a 4.96 ounces. This is where I think I was mentioning to you before, Jay, about I have a custom Jetboil kit. So basically what this is a company, that same people who make my steaks, Rudda Lacura, they make a kit that has a really lightweight, the actual burner part of the stove, instead of using the normal Jetboil igniter, the stove part. So basically I take it's still a canister type stove, so it fits on one of those, those fuel canisters. This is really lightweight and also has little, I believe they're titanium sheets, or they're really thin sheets that kind of go inside that Jetboil, the part where it has those burners coming down. So it makes it a little more fuel efficient and also helps you protect on wind, because like a lot of people might take 2 or 3 fuel canisters on a week-long backpacking hunt, but really you only need 1, maybe 1.5. You might have to take 2. But it really comes down to fuel consumption. If I can boil water as fast as I can and not burn fuel, I only need to carry 1 canister. And one fuel canister, 110 gram of fuel, actually weighs 7.5 ounces. So if you take 2-3 fuel canisters with you, and by the end of your hunt, if you've ended up burning all those, or you didn't because you're actually fuel conscious and don't keep your burner on and boil a ton of extra water, you're saving a ton of weight just right there in your whole backpacking setup. So this Jetboil kit, this custom one, just is really fuel efficient, really lightweight. I think the total of like the Jetboil plus the stove, it's like 5 ounces. And I think normal Jetboils are 13, 14 ounces total. So you can cut a lot of weight really fast, and it still boils really fast because the top of my lid, instead of having that plastic Jetboil lid, it has a carbon fiber lid. So it's really lightweight as well, carbon fiber. We talked about the fuel right there. I just take 1 canister by myself when I'm in the backcountry. And then I have a small Bic lighter, the really mini one. It's like 1.5 inches tall for igniting my stove. And then I also use a Sea to Summit titanium spork that barely weighs 1/4 ounce. It's a really lightweight spork for eating. And then so other gear, just random. So that my whole cook setup is 14 ounces. And that includes that stove, fuel, lighter, titanium spork. So it's a pretty lightweight cook setup.
Wow.
So here's some miscellaneous gear, like a headlamp. I do carry 2 types of light sources. So I will carry a headlamp. The one I'm using right now is a Browning, I think it's called their Epic 3. It has like 200 some lumens. It's pretty bright light. That's really lightweight at 3.32 ounces. I also have like another handheld, like little mini flashlight. It's about 3 inches long. It does have like a green filter on it for helping you find blood. I think it has a red filter on it as well. This is just a really small handheld flashlight. It's only 2 ounces for another flashlight. My first aid kit, my first aid kit will be up photos of my first aid kit, but I'm also doing another article later on how I kind of build my first aid kit. My first aid kit's also very, some people might call it too minimalist, but I think it does have a lot of stuff I do need if big, emergencies do arise. I do always carry electrical tape and a bunch of other stuff. So I'll break that down later, but my first aid kit comes in at 2.75 ounces. For water purification in the backcountry, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, just drink right below a stream, drink below, in Colorado, drink anywhere. But like, I don't trust any of that. I've actually gotten Giardia before. My Well, my boss, when I did fisheries work, he clogged one of my pump filters, filtering out of like a moose pond area, and I ended up getting Giardia later because the pump was so clogged it wasn't the water just filtering right through the pump. And I ended up getting Giardia, ended up missing 3 weeks of elk season. That was the year I had tons of time off during September to go elk hunting, had a giant bull found, and I missed all the archery hunt for elk because I had Giardia. I actually didn't know I had Giardia and kept trying to like go out hunting, and I just sit there and Giardia's bad. So I always filter everything or do something. But so water filter, I don't use a water filter. I actually use those they're water purification drops made by Aquamira. And so you just take like 7 drops of part A, 7 drops of part B, mix it and do a liter of water and wait a certain amount of time and you're good to go. So that, just the essential toilet paper is very toilet paper and Ziploc bag. I use a Kestrel knife. It's their slim taper. And this is a super lightweight knife that is very, very sharp. Last year I quartered and deboned 4 mule deer without even sharpening it. I used to use those Havalon Piranta knives with replaceable blades, and you break a lot of blades, and they're really super sharp, and almost to the point where I feel they're too dangerous in a way for a lot of people to use, or just in the heat of the moment. It might be dark out. You have such a knife that razor sharp, that's such a thin blade. It's so easy to cut your hand. I've actually witnessed quite a few of my friends slice their fingers down to the bone on one of those. But this Kestrel knife is also razor sharp, but it's a little thicker blade, so I feel like I can feel it when I'm moving around. It's still very light. And my trekking poles, like I was saying, I use for my tent. They're just Black Diamond. I think they're called Trail Ego Corks trekking poles. And so that was just some random other gear. Some other gear I take along with me is I have a glassing pad. I just have an old, one of those old like roll-up Z-Rest type foam sleeping pads. I just take one of those and cut in a really small section. It only weighs like I think 1.5 ounces for a short section to sit on. I'm still a guy who iPhones are really great. You can use GPS on your iPhone. You can use it for your camera. You can use them, to look at Google Earth if you have service. You can cache stuff on there. So I do take my iPhone with me. I do have a lot of maps on there, a lot of aerial footage, but I also carry a Garmin GPS. I just feel I'd rather have a standalone GPS where I can mark stuff easier. I can do it on my phone with some like Onyx Maps apps, but I'm still a standalone GPS guy, and then my phone does a lot of other stuff for aerial images. But so Garmin 64S. I have just all the random smoke in a bottle for wind indicator. I do wear face paint. I will paint up before I'm making stock right at it. A lot of people think it's weird and crazy, but my thought is I'd rather have camo, the paint stuff on my face than wear a face mask, because I don't like being at full draw and having a face mask affecting my shot. And game bags. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you full beard these days or clean shaven?
Oh yeah, I'm back to the full beard. Yeah, it's back again.
You're trying out for Duck Dynasty. It's back, huh?
Yeah, after last year in Colorado. It's not quite last year in Colorado how you saw me, but after that film last year when I shaved it, I've only trimmed it I think once or twice since last year September. So yeah, it's a big rockin' beard again. We're gonna go round 2 and see if I can redeem myself with the beard. So that does help my camo, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Game bags right now, I did place an order for the new Kuyu game bags, those boned out meat bags. I'm really excited to use those, but I haven't got those in the mail yet, so I'm just going to rock my caribou gear. They're called like the Carnivore 2s. They're really lightweight, boned out meat only bags. They come in at 10.5 ounces. Then another one of my like big safety things is saying I used to use one of those, used to use a Spot. Now I switched over and I use a Delorme InReach device. My fiance loves when I can, text her at night or do anything. She texts me back. So that's kind of huge for us to be able to, communicate that I'm safe and let people know, hey, I'm still alive, or maybe even handle work items in the backcountry. That's, 6.65 ounces. I do carry 4 extra lithium batteries. And then, like I said, I carry my iPhone with. So I think that covers the gear besides for weapon-wise. Want to get into like my bow setup or anything like that?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and then I want to hear all about your bow setup.
I have known the owners of the Outdoorsman's in Phoenix for over 20 years. They are the authority on optics and hunting gear. Outdoorsman's is the leading designer and manufacturer of high-quality tripods, mounting accessories, and pack systems for all hunters. Their customer service is the best in the business. Go to outdoorsmans.com or call 1-800-291-8065 and use the J. Scott promo code to receive 10% off any products. PhoneScope is a company that makes custom-molded, precisely engineered smartphone digiscoping adapters. Photographing wildlife has never been easier. It is simple to text photos and videos from your smartphone and share them with your friends. PhoneScope stands behind their product with a 100% money-back guarantee. Get yours now by using the JScott16 promo code and receive 10% discount on all purchases. Check them out at PhoneScope. That's PhoneSkope.com or on Instagram at PhoneScope.
Okay, Brady, let's dive into your archery setup for your high country mule deer hunt.
Okay, yeah, this is a setup. I ran a very similar setup last year. It's a 2015 Hoyt Nitrum 34. It's a long draw model. So I have a 32-inch draw length, so it actually accommodates me. And I run 80-pound limbs. So I do 80-pound limbs for a lot of reasons. It is for speed a little bit, but a lot more for just that momentum, hard hitting. You know, I can shoot a heavier arrow, still get good speed, but also still just punch animals hard. Like I shoot a lot. I used to shoot a lot at leagues when I lived in Montana, shooting 80-pound limbs, and then when I got down here, I would still shoot a few times at the actual archery range besides for just in my house, and I blow through a lot of targets. It's fun shooting 80-pound limbs. You definitely need to like work up to it, but for my setup, you know, I wouldn't shoot anything less than 80 pounds if the bow company offers 80-pound limbs. I could break down my bow sight. It's a pure driven 75 single pin with a 6-inch dovetail. So this is a single pin adjustable sight. Big promoter of single pins, just be able to dial in the exact yardage and know where you're shooting instead of pin gaps or you know, taking the guesswork out of things. I always feel people definitely have more time than they think on a mule deer, especially when you're, you know, he's in his bed, you do have time, you might be waiting for him to stand up, you've ranged that spot, you know, 15, 20 times, and you could definitely move your sight in. And then even if the buck did get up, a lot of times you still have an opportunity to shoot him. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you can't use them elk hunting. Like what if the bull comes in, now he's at 50, now he's at 30. Well, you can also figure out how to set your pin and know where your pin's going to shoot high or shoot low at certain distances. So
that's a question I have for you. What will your pin just be set at? Just you keep it at all the time. Where does it set?
I would set it at 34 yards. 34 yards gets me. I'd have to look back at it now because I did just move some things around a little bit. But before that was like 4 inches high. 4 inches high at 20, and I think I was like 4 inches low at 50, if I remember right. So it's still, you know, that whole range. If you're looking at an elk, you could just okay, I'm at 34 yards. I'll hold a little high if he's at 50, and you're gonna punch him. Like, or if he all of a sudden came running in 34 yards. Bow shoot so fast nowadays. 34 yards, he came running all the way in, and now he's at 20. You're not going to shoot over him, even if you put your pin right on him at 34 yards. A lot of people's pins, if they have multi-pin sights, are so stacked in there from 20, 30, 40. It really doesn't matter. That's why setting at a certain yardage, if you are an elk hunter and don't have that time, and you want to cover yourself, that's a good way to do it, running a single pin.
Yeah, I'm running a single pin this year for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely nice. It's kind of like running a rifle turret, you know. You have to dial in your turret and your rifle, dial in here, you're more accurate. And I take the tournament side of archery and throw it into bow hunting while still making it so I don't have a lot of extra gadgets. Still trying to keep it simple, but also making it really advanced. And also, I run really long stabilizers. I run I think it's a 15-inch front bar on my bow, and I have 2 ounces of weight on the end of it. So it basically helps me balance. And I also run a sidebar that goes behind my bow, and that has 16 ounces of weight. And I like to have mass weight on my bow. I like it to be heavy because I shoot better, hold better in the wind. It also helps me balance out all my gear on my right side of my bow because I'm a right-handed archer. So a lot of it's playing around, figuring out what works for you. I mean, a lot of people go and shoot 16 ounces. Like I said earlier, I love being lightweight. And here's again where I go against what I say. I love having a heavy bow. If I'm rifle hunting, I love having a heavy rifle. It's just kind of what works for me. And my arrows, I'm running they're Black Eagle X packs. They're really thin diameter, micro diameter shafts, and they have an outsert on them. So the way I found, outserts, I shot my moose with the same setup as a deep impact arrow, but basically same small diameter. The outsert so it goes through an animal, and the outsert is actually a little bit bigger than the shaft itself. So you have less resistance going through. The arrow is not really touching anything as it's going through, if that makes sense. Because that broadhead and the outsert makes a bigger hole, so the arrow has that, like the blood will help like lubricate or make it fluid, so it goes through the animal easier. Like in my moose, when I shot my moose in BC with my bow, I shot it at 65 yards. I had a 70-pound bear bow at the time, and it punched through both sides of the animal. My broadhead was sticking out the other side at 65 yards with a 70-pound bow.
Wow.
I have to say there's something to be said about outserts. I'm sure you could do a lot of others. I was shooting a fixed blade head at the time. And
isn't it one of the downside of outserts that, like, when you're shooting at targets, you're basically blowing through every single target?
Yep, exactly. That's why I think, like I was saying earlier, how I shoot 80-pound limbs and I abuse targets. This is another reason why I abuse targets. It punches a bigger hole, and I think it penetrates. You can definitely tell penetration difference using these outserts compared to regular arrows, I believe. And I've definitely seen it myself in testing. And so yeah, that's my arrow setup on the front of it. In the past, I've used fixed blade Muzzy trocar heads. Those are great heads. This year I decided to switch it up. And I'm using Rage Hypodermic Plus P, so I'm using expandable heads this year. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers the bow. I mean, the bow and some of the setups, and without getting way too in-depth geeky, I mean, I could go on for hours about my bow setup. But
what's your kinetic energy?
Ooh, I think the last time I calculated it was high 90s, like
wow,
really high 90s. Yeah, 90, maybe 96, 98.
Wow.
So it's a comfortable setup, and still works for the backcountry. And
what release do you use?
It's I use a thumb activated release. I don't use a wrist strap caliper. So that's this whole thing about taking tournament side of archery and throwing it into hunting. I can still command the shot if I want to, but I do really try to shoot with back tension. I do have target pain issues. I will admit that. So I'm still battling that. It goes away and comes back. But I shoot a 4-finger hot shot eclipse release, and I activate it with back tension using your thumb muscle, and you could punch it with the thumb.
Couple questions for you. So, what do you do to help you with your target panic? What helps you?
I'll go into first what makes me have target panic. Basically, trying to shoot at spots. If I try, like by spots, I mean like going to an archery range and you go inside the pro shop and you go to the back and all they have are bales of target blocks and all they have is a little tiny dot to shoot at. Me shooting at a little tiny dot or dots with rings, like a scoring ring, it messes up my mind and I try to be too perfect. So I have a fear of missing that exact bullseye. It's such a problem in my head that I'll freeze below the target, and because I'm just like afraid to miss. I want to be so perfect. I want to be in the exact X, and I'm definitely battling it right now. So the thing that helps me not do that is I definitely do a lot of blank belling. I shoot my eyes closed a lot. I shoot mainly if I live in Las Vegas. I don't really have very much long range shooting ability. Man, yeah, there's deserts everywhere, but it's 100 degrees out all the time. So I shoot a lot in my house, and I shoot a lot with bear shaft arrows, working on form. I shoot on my target if I'm not shooting bear or not shooting with my eyes closed, blind bailing. I'll shoot a piece of string with a bear shaft, and I just focus on breaking that string. And then that kind of helps me. But the biggest way I get rid of my target panic is when I shoot 3D archery. For whatever reason, if you put an animal out in front of me or a 3D target, that I can almost nail those vitals every single time, because I stop forgetting about, okay, I need to punch that exact molecule on the upper right side of the X, right where they cross together. or like I don't try to figure. I don't when I look at an animal, I don't say, okay, I need to shoot that exact little piece of hair right there. That'll mess my mind up. I'm just like, okay, just go right behind the shoulder and squeeze a shot, execute it, and let it rip. And I don't have target panic that way because for whatever reason, when I'm shooting tournaments or shooting competitively, I mean, I break down and have target panic because I just want it perfect and I want to beat everyone else. I'm super competitive.
When you do lock off target, do you typically always lock low and end up shooting low?
Yep, I will always lock low. I'll never have left or my arrows are always in a pretty much straight up and down line, but just low. I'll never miss a target high. That's why I know I have target panic bad. I always will miss low if I'm going to miss anything, and I'll freeze low when I do have target panic. I've even gone into I shoot a lot of full back tension releases like hinge activated, where you actually have to either use your back muscles or it's like a slight wrist rotation. I shoot those a lot, but it's just like for whatever reason, I think I'm actually going to hire a coach this winter and hire an archery coach and try to figure things out a little bit. Because I feel like I have the fundamentals down. I know how to, I can tune my bow to a T. I can set up my arrows. But for whatever reason, my shot sequence, that's where it breaks down for me. And I get rid of target panic for a while by shooting blank bales, all this stuff. And then for whatever reason, towards hunting season, I might start thinking about things differently. And it comes back again, and I throw 3D targets out, and it kind of goes away. And I just need to like eliminate it altogether. So it's something I'm going to be working on this winter and try to combat it for once. But I will admit, I have target panic. So first step to fixing it's admitting it, right?
Well, anybody that admits that they don't have it's lying. So.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's been interesting for me. I haven't shot an elk with my bow in 10 years. So 2006 was the last time I shot an elk with my bow, and I'd really kind of gotten not out of archery, but just don't shoot and just kind of got out of archery and guiding a lot and rifle hunting and it's been so fun this summer to get back into archery. And one of the things that I noticed is I'm shooting better at like 60, 70, and 80 yards than sometimes I do at 30 and 40. And,
yep.
I was talking to Dar about it, and he's like, Jay, when you're closer, you're so focused on your pin and you're so focused on a particular spot. Whereas when you're out, 60, 70, 80 yards, 90 yards, to me, it's more of just all one fluid motion, and my pin is somewhere, the best I can explain it, somewhere in the general area of where I need to be shooting, if that makes any sense. And I'm way more relaxed, and it seems like I go up and look at my groups, I'm like, I shoot. I mean, it's just, I feel way more comfortable at 80 yards. Not that I can't make a 30-yard shot, but just something about the execution of the shot at 80 yards is much more comfortable to me than shooting at 30 or 40.
Yep, that goes kind of the same thing. You have the exact same scenario I have. It's like we're so focused when we're closer. It's like, oh, it's a chip shot. I should be able to put all these arrows in that quarter size X-ring, And then when you get back further, that's when you're actually, because you need to allow the pin to actually float. Like I have a problem too of like, okay, the pin needs to be rock steady in a vertical line and not move left or right or up and down. It should be perfect, like a crosshair in a rifle. And it's not theoretically possible to do that. You really can't hold it steady. That's why I think when you get back further, you're allowing the pin to move more, and that's allowing it to move naturally. And as long as that pin's in that general area, and your subconscious mind is so focused on actually like aiming in that spot, it's doing it for you, and you're not having to think as hard. And so that's why I think I make better shots too at 80 yards. It's just big.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. But archery is just, being out of it for a while and not shooting a lot, and then getting back to summer, and it's just fun to shoot. I'd forgotten how fun it is, and it's unfortunate. It's kind of like golf. People that are good at golf, they want to get better and better and better. And, sometimes it's best for me to just go like 4 or 5 days and not shoot, and then just go shoot, enjoy it. And, I'm shooting as good as I can shoot. And, the more I shoot, probably the worse I shoot. If I lay it down for 2 or 3 days and then just go shoot again, I'm, usually my first 3 arrows of the day are usually my best 3 arrows.
Yep, exactly. That's where I start battling the whole conscious mind and aiming, and the subconscious mind should shoot your bow. And then that's why a lot of times I practice, like you said, I practice at 6 feet in my house, blank bailing or shooting a string, or I practice at 100 yards outside. It's just those two distances. I feel I get my tuning done at long range, and it's the way I love it. So it's so fun seeing that arrow fly through the air. It's just keeping archery fun is the way to do it, and then you'll be good for hunting season, I think.
Just to be clear, you're talking about hanging a string linear, hanging it down, and all you're trying to do is just hit the string.
Yep, I'm trying to break it. I actually did an article on Go Hunt, I think it might have been back in January, February, talking about that setup. That's why I removed fletchings from my arrow, because the fletchings, all they're really doing is helping correct your flight. And so that's why shooting indoors, and I'll even step it back as far as, I think I can go, 13 yards in my house if I, open up shoot through the living room into the man cave, all the way to the back of it. And so that's removing the fletchings. It makes it kind of harder to hit that string, because then everything has to be perfect. You have to have your bow hand in the right spot. You have to have your hand set right. You have to have your anchor, in your cheek right. It's like it makes it so everything else just has to be in line for that non-fletched arrow to go straight and actually hit that piece of string. And I'm talking about, it's like it's actually
dental
a piece
floss.
It's like dental floss. It's a serving string. So I have a yellow bow serving string that you would use around like your knock air, your peep sight.
Yeah.
I'm basically shooting at that, and I just have yellow one because it works really well against my black target. And trying to break the string. It's actually really hard, but it's fun too. It's like a little game you can play indoors. Like if it's too hot out, it's raining outside, people think you can't shoot your bow. Take it out in the garage, shoot a piece of string. It's probably the best practice you can do for your form, and also for your mental game of archery. You can make a shot and break.
And at that point, you're not necessarily focusing on a spot because it's a linear.
Yep,
deal,
it's a linear.
And your mind doesn't actually break it down into just a little X. It's more, that's a sweet idea. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, I found it to be really great, and it is fun. It's like I said, you'll sit there and be like, man, I hit the string, and you'll pull it out, and the string's not broken yet. So it definitely takes that perfect shot to split the string right down the middle, and so it will eventually. You can split it and sit on both sides of your arrow, and then wow, that felt good, and then you go back and it's like, okay, let's repeat that shot and do it again.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to try that. That's a sweet little tip. So your total weight of your pack is, what'd you say it was, 45.6?
Yeah, it's like 40. Let me pull it back up on my computer here. Yeah, 45.8, and that's all that physical gear. And then I did 45.8 without my stupid camera optics. I always carry a big giant DSLR. I carry some extra lenses. So that's like my base weight. And this is going to be like a sub-weight. Okay, here's actually what I'm putting myself through some misery carrying whatever it is. Like, I think I don't even know, 7 pounds of optics, 7 pounds of camera gear I take in. My DSLR, a lens, a couple extra batteries, self-remote. And so then it gets really heavy. But yeah, I could do 45.8 if I just use my digiscoping camera as a trophy photo. But I just love photography and love, really cool photos. So I always suck it up.
Reel game calls featuring the elk reel. Reel Game Calls makes innovative, realistic, and easy-to-master calls using their proprietary, revolutionary design. They are located and manufactured in Gypsum, Colorado. Their calls were designed and battle-tested on some of the hardest hunted terrain on Earth. Check out elkreel.com. Use the promo code JScott and receive a 20% discount on all purchases. Go to www.elkreel.com. Utah Hydrographics is in the water transfer printing service, and they can dip almost anything into a wide range of camo patterns, designs, and colors. Whether it's guns, bows, tools, rifle stocks, vehicle parts, steering wheels, cups, or tripods, Utah Hydrographics loves taking things that are general looking and turn them into something that looks fantastic. Give them a call and see what they can do for you and receive up to a 10% discount by using the JScott16 promo code. Visit them at utahhydrographics.com or on Instagram at Utah Hydrographics.
Your photos are amazing for sure. It's interesting. We stay here in Carbondale for the summer, but we on Sundays we go to church up in Vail at Calvary Chapel, Vail Valley, and a couple weeks ago, a guy came up to me and said he listens to the podcast, follows me on Instagram. His name's Nick, and just an awesome guy. And he says, last year, he says, I'm the one that messed up Brady on his mule deer hunt. I said, oh no. The nicest guy, they were elk hunting, I guess, and he didn't realize it, but I think he blew your buck out, or I forget the exact story.
Yeah.
But man, Heartbreak Hotel, that was an awesome buck last year.
Hey, I know. Yeah, that's actually funny. You mentioned that he reached out to you. He, I think it was I did a podcast with the Hunt Backcountry guys. They have a podcast, and they had me talking about it. And I think 2 weeks later, he reached out to me. He just joined Instagram. He said just to search me out, I guess, because he was trying to figure out. Okay, I recognize this. I recognize the go hunt thing. We were talking about go hunting on the podcast, and he's like, yeah, Brady, I was that guy who wrecked your stock on that elk hunt because. Yeah, they were actually working up the basin, and they were going after a couple bulls. There's a bull in there with, I think he had matching kickers on both sides. Remember, you definitely had one on one side that was 6 inches long, right next to his whale tail, and he was a pretty cool bull, not like a giant scory bull, but yeah, they ended up wrecking my stock on opening morning because they went up there. I had the buck bed in a big timber patch and blew him out. But actually, we thought it was going to be a bad deal. It ended up being kind of a good deal because it made the buck a little more home to his little area and went up higher in the basin. But yeah, it was definitely a heartbreaker when I definitely could never get that taste out of your mouth after losing any deer. It's the first year I've ever lost an animal, bow or rifle, and to have it happen this year and then have it, on a buck that we all think scores at least 205. It's just, it's just crazy, and have it film and my whole struggle and hiking
the best
30 plus miles zigzagging trying to find the deer, and we had a black bear in there too, and we don't know, maybe the black bear spooked him that same night we shot him after that big giant rainstorm, and who knows what happened. But
it's Heartbreak Hotel, but the best way to get that taste out of your mouth is to just go shoot a giant here next week, so that would help.
Exactly. Yeah, we're hoping to. We got 2 tags and 9 days to do it in a really awesome spot that I've definitely grown to love over the years and just can't get enough of it. So I'm excited. I wish it was Sunday, like right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to touch base. Right now we're doing GoHunt.com Insider. We're doing a promotion on 30-day free trial. And for the listeners out there, the J Scott Outdoors podcast listeners, they can actually go on GoHunt.com Insider and click on the free trial button. And I want you to tell me, obviously you work for GoHunt, but what does the Filtering 2.0 and what does being an insider member to you do in figuring out like where you're going to hunt in different states and such?
To me, it's a huge eye opener, really. Like you could say, like a lot of people, like I used to think I knew the draw system very well, like in Montana. I started applying in Utah and all those other states. Like I thought I knew things back then. This just opens the whole world up to you. It shows you how much opportunities there are to go hunting. Like everyone thinks, oh, the West is all this draw tags, or it takes 10, 15 years to draw a good mule deer tag, but there's so many good opportunities that, like all these states that offer archery opportunities, 1 or 2 point you can draw at all these over-counter stuff. So basically what I love about, like I use Filtering 2.0 all the time when I was planning my hunt. So basically if you take a state, so let's say once you're an insider, we drop down Filtering 2.0, pull up all the states we cover it. So you could take Idaho, for example. Let's say, okay, I want to hunt Idaho. I want to go elk hunting in Idaho. So you filter Idaho, you filter elk, and I was going to show you all those units. You can hunt elk in that state, which is pretty much the whole state. But then you can narrow it down. Say you want to, okay, I want to shoot a 310-inch bull. So now it's going to narrow it down from like 90 some units down to like 35 units, for example, of all those units that produce a 310-inch bull, for example. And then you could say, well, I want I don't want the rifle hunt to miss a bow hunter. So like I go through these states and like especially these over-the-counter states and think, okay, archery. So now filter all those units that have an archery season that I could apply for that meet that 310-inch criteria. And then another great thing, so now it's going to narrow it down. So instantly, instead of researching the whole state, you're researching 10, 15 units. You can go even further and say, well, now show me all the areas that show the top trophy potential sorted based on my criteria. So you click that, and now it's going to sort from highest to lowest. It might be like 340 plus all the way down to your 310 minimum that you set. And then you can say, well, that's great. And also I might say like, okay, well, let's talk about Unit 9. You're clicking Unit 9. Break down your access, your terrain, vegetation, just like all this stuff that like, yeah, you might be able to dig some of it out of like a state report, but it's all right there at your fingertips in a filtering way. So you can like actually know from guys who have hunted this unit, okay, what's the vegetation like? Is there access issues? What are the, historical temperature and precipitation from this unit in the central spot, not in like a town that's, way away from you. And then you could like, okay, go back out. I researched Unit 9. That was good. You can filter by male to female ratio. So you can know, okay, I'm a bow hunter. I want 310 moles or better. And I want to find areas that have higher bull to cow ratios because I want a chance to get in more bulls. Well, now you can filter that. It's going to show you those new areas filtered by your criteria. So you can try to like, I kind of explain like a choose your own ending type deal, like a choose your own ending type book, Yeah. And then you can even filter by harvest success. And now, was it last year or the week before, we released all the over-the-counter states, all their harvest success reports. And now you can filter just based on over-the-counter. So you could potentially find the best unit in Idaho, best unit in Arizona, best unit in Colorado for elk. That's going to be the highest harvest percent in the state for archery based on how many hunters they survey. So sometimes it's, you have to use that as a grain of salt because they might want to survey 20-some people when they actually, a couple more hundred people might have hunted it. But you can narrow that down to a better area for you to hunt that have higher harvest success. The harvest success could be due to weather. It could be due to, just ease of terrain. You have to take all into account. That's why using the unit profile will show you your terrain. It'll show you your photos. So you can be like, I'm a guy who loves high country basins like Colorado, Nevada, some of the stuff. Like I just eat it up, all that high country stuff. So actually show me terrain photos so I can see, and I'll talk about the vegetation. So I know I'll be able to glass this unit, whereas this unit over here is heavily timbered. Might have still the same genetics, might have still the same harvest success, but I will be a better bow hunter in this area because of the terrain. So it kind of just narrows down your research to a whole new ball game of different opportunities. It makes you not afraid to like jump over and hunt a border state. Like maybe you just hunted, like I used to hunt Montana all the time. I'm kicking myself right now. Why didn't I go to Idaho? Why didn't I utilize all those Idaho over-the-counter like tags or go elk hunting in Idaho? It was right there. And now I'm like, hey, if I had this back then, I would have probably had enough courage to figure out the draw system, figure out how much everything state, cost to apply, and find a really good area without having to like burn gas and drive around the whole state, multiple years trying to figure out a unit. You can figure out a unit now pretty fast.
Yeah, it's an incredible tool. So it's a 30-day free trial. Guys, the listeners here, you guys can go to gohunt.com/JScott, click on the blue free trial button and go through the steps. You will have to provide a credit card, but you will not be charged until after the free 30 days. You can cancel at any time in the first 30 days. And if you have any questions at all, you can email freetrial@gohunt.com, and someone from the Go Hunt team will promptly respond. Brady, we've had an awesome time today hearing about your gear list. I want to remind the listeners that Tuesday or Wednesday of next week on gohunt.com, they will be able to go and look at the photos of all the stuff that you discussed in this article, as well as there'll be a copy that they can download of your Excel spreadsheet, and they can use that spreadsheet for their own gear, correct?
Yep, they'll be able to use it and customize it themselves, and yep. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, someone will post it on Tuesday, and then if they don't find it there, and I'll also be posting it on all my social media channels, my personal ones when I get back too. So if people follow me on Instagram, I'll let them know, hey, my article's up. I'll probably shoot a photo of my gear list and include a link to the Go Hunt article once I get back from my Nevada hunt. So if people don't see it then, I'll try to make sure they get a hold of it. So.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you spending time with us here. I know you're busy trying to get all your work stuff done and get all your gear and get everything, all fine-tuned. But I can't wait to see how you do. And what else do you have in store for this fall?
Yeah, well, I lucked out. I mean, I drew an archery antelope tag in Nevada, but I ended up turning that tag back in. The season actually opened yesterday. I just turned it back in a week and a half ago. I didn't have enough time to devote what I really wanted to for an antelope tag, especially if I did tag out. I have to wait 5 years to get it again. And everyone knows how covered an antelope tag is. And I do have enough bonus points where I'll be able to draw it again. So I'm hoping to, 1 year maybe have a little more time in August to devote to that. But I drew a Wyoming general deer tag. So I'm going to be doing awesome. I'm really looking forward to Wyoming. That's going to be mid-September. I'm most likely going to skip the archery hunt, even though I'm a giant bow junkie. But just because I just don't really have enough time to really go back-to-back to Nevada, try to run up there to scout, and then try to hunt a full week, especially since I'll be by myself in Wyoming. I won't have anyone, to help guide me in on a buck. So I'm just going to go with the rifle hunt, which opens September 15th. A bunch of people know today all the Colorado leftover stuff came out. I tried to pick up a Colorado leftover tag, but there's just not any tags available. I couldn't get on the phone to get a tag. So Colorado might be out for me this year because I'm trying to save some points for a top end trophy unit. But I do have a Montana general tag as well. So I have a pretty good fall. Basically a year at the mule deer again. I just can't get enough of mule deer. So my Montana hunt will be with my family again. I usually go up to Montana and hunt with them for the Thanksgiving week, and usually do really well up there. It's a good tradition that we always do, and just really fun to see my family who don't get to hunt mule deer. I get to show them all the mule deer, their love, and they can see why I'm so addicted to them. I guess it's gonna be a good year, and I might help a couple of people out in the Colorado hunts. Probably help some people on the third season or maybe fourth season hunt. So it'll be a fun fall.
The year of the mule deer. I love it. That's awesome. That's
all right,
awesome.
Yeah, good. I can't wait to see your beaver hunt too. So yeah, keep me posted.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic, and sure seems like the year to draw it and the late dates, and it's been fun getting ready physically and mentally trying to prepare myself for the grind and just the marathon of a long hunt. So it's going to be fantastic. So I'll probably talk to you after you got a big old buck in your hands, and I can't wait to see the photos. Your trophy photos and your adventure photos are always just phenomenal. I want to encourage everybody listening to go find Brady on Instagram. You can look in the show notes portion and see the links to find Brady on Instagram. And Brady does he's a digital content manager for GoHunt.com, and just a phenomenal resource. And you do such a great job with all those articles. I just want to commend you on your efforts there.
Hey, appreciate it, Jay. Always fun talking to you, and always fun talking hunting. And yeah, looking forward to this season. So
awesome, buddy. Well, until I hear from you, until I see a photo and see your face behind a big mule deer, God bless, and we'll be chatting at you. Okay.
All right. Take care. Stay safe.
All right, buddy.